You're listening to Success Stalkers Radio, episode 19 with Robert Alexander. Welcome to Success Stalkers Radio. I am your host, Iona Garrett. People all over the globe are rewriting the rules to success. They're making money and changing the world. Join me Monday through Friday as I interview today's top entrepreneurs, business leaders, and entertainers that will leave you inspired to take action and achieve success on purpose. Are you ready? Let's dive right in. Okay, Success Stalkers, let's get started. I am your host, Iona Garrett, and this is another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. I am simply thrilled today to introduce my guest, Robert Alexander. Robert, are you ready to stalk some success today?
You better believe it, Iona.
All right, that's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
Well, Robert Alexander is the visionary and founder of Life Rhythms, which is an innovative consulting business hub that can help you with a variety of creative services, such as lifestyle development services and reliable services. He has over 15 years of solid creative industry experience. Robert has assisted many businesses with innovative strategies that are effective and personable. Life Rhythms services also include graphic design for print and web, branding and corporate ID, multimedia design, sound design, social media, and innovative creative strategies. He and his incredibly friendly team also specialize in web mobile application development and media services, so they can also help you find and build ways to sustain client relationships that are in full alignment with the vision of your clients. So, Robert, I've given our listeners just a little overview. So take a minute, tell us about you personally, because we want to get to know you. Then give us an overview of your business.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on Words Cannot Express.
You're so welcome.
Such the biggest honors ever. And there's something to be said. I mean, especially with me knowing you, being a very incredibly personable individual who just has such a huge heart. It's so important to have that in the business world. At the same time, really being able to have business delivered in a way that's really effective. So I know for myself, growing up, I grew up in a very small part of Los Angeles, very, I don't want to say rural, but a little bit more separated in a more of a suburban area. So I grew up feeling just way off the cuff and feeling very different, and not really aligned with a lot of different people that were around me. So I always knew there was something a little bit different. I mean, I'm a lefty. I was born 2.5 months early. You know, I had an early start knowing, whoa, there's something very different about my world. And the thing is,
but I love it.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about feeling our different type of energy that we have with ourselves and what we really want to put out there. So I just knew growing up and feeling a little bit out of the norm, wanting to fit in and just really wanting to do things differently, that there's definitely a better way to go about that without really having to snap anybody over or just doing anything that may be just really out of character for who they are. So the more I started really getting more into what my interests are and staying very true to who I am, which is it's still an ongoing journey. You know, we all have plenty to learn in life.
Of course.
At the end of the day, you know, I love being imperfect just the way that I am right now and just really doing what I can to continue to evolve in that way. So anything that I do, whether if it's, you know, cooking or hanging out with my girlfriend or, you know, just doing all these different things to empower myself, I'm all about doing what I can to remind others that there really is a different way of doing things. And it's part of the joys of life. We have the capacity to express ourselves in so many different ways. So,
Absolutely. Well, Robert, we're going to dive way deep into your journey in just a little bit in this interview. But before we do, we love to start off Success Talkers Radio with a success quote. So if you can, take it away.
Absolutely. You know, I was trying to find one that really was reflecting where I am right now. And, you know, this is actually by the late Maya Angelou, and it's success liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it.
That's good. That's a great one. That is a great one.
Thanks.
Well, also, Robert, here at Success Talkers Radio, we love to hear stories. We love to hear about the journeys of our guests, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get into your journey, what we want to talk about and focus on right here, right now, is a possible failure or a challenge, something that maybe happened in, say, your personal life or business life, that you can share with us. And once you share that with us, then I want you to share maybe a lesson that you learned from it.
Absolutely. There's a lot of different things I've seen myself experience in my world, and whenever I hear the word failure, everyone has their own different definition to it. And I know for myself, I I really don't see myself failing at anything. That doesn't mean that I'm running around having like a perfect GPA or, having like a perfect body. I just don't really see myself really failing at anything. I've seen myself having less than favorable results because I was expecting them or forecasting them. But honestly, I know there's been times, and I really can't pinpoint one exact one, where I just haven't listened to my heart, or I would do something that maybe out of character with where my values are. And I realized from those, like, wow, those should-haves, which I don't even believe in should-haves, it probably wasn't a good idea. So it may be a better idea for me to be more mindful or to be more present in what I'm doing, or, just really paying attention to, what does seem aligned with where I want to go. Maybe take a few small moments just to see what type of result would I like to have, or what may be in the best interest for the greater good for myself and for the people around me, if they're involved at least,
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go forward then, Robert. Let's talk about maybe an aha moment, a light bulb moment, because, I know we all have had those at some point in our, in our either life or business life.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that you've had some major aha moments that have probably helped you to become successful in your business today. So if you can just tell us one of those aha moments or light bulb moments. And remember, this is a story. We want to pretend as if we're right there with you, when you had this moment. So tell us a story. Take us back.
Well, I was just thinking of some sort of narrative voice, like once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away or something.
I love it.
In this case, once upon a time in the year 2007, 2008, when I was definitely working with an incredible mentor. Her name is Ginger Adam Little, and she has a amazing practice with a high-profile man, and oh my gosh, just amazing, amazing woman. And she, her and I were talking about some different ideas because I was working for the corporate world at the time, and I realized, just what can I do? Like, I feel trapped, and I just have no idea what to do. And she just, this beautiful woman, her heart is just so huge, and she says to me, have you considered going into business for yourself? And that light bulb could not be any brighter. I lost my eyesight immediately from staring at that light bulb. Unbelievable. I was like, huh? And of course, this, what ifs, what am I supposed to do? Oh, I can't do that because, well, I'm supposed to get funding, or, I'm not blank enough, or anything like that. And I figured, you know what, and honestly, what do I really want for myself? Because it seems like what's happening around for myself isn't really working. So I gave it a shot, and I went to a coffee shop, and I loved having my iced Americanos at the time, and having the caffeine go through my body, and just sitting there, and a lot of my best ideas just come through journaling. Just these ideas just flooded out, and I realized it doesn't have to be just one specific thing for our business. What do we feel most passionate about? What can I do to help really serve the greater good for businesses and individuals that are running them, or even people that are working for somebody else or working with somebody else? So, yeah, that's an incredible evolution in terms of how Life Rhythms began, for sure.
I really felt like I was right there with you. I saw the light.
Well, I hope you're able to see okay now.
Right,
the blinding light and everything,
I tell you, right. Yeah, I'm so excited that, you had that moment because, I've seen your work and it's incredible. And you're so talented. I mean, on so many different levels. And, I can't wait for our listeners to take a look at your site and, listen to your music because I tell you, that's really what got me hooked. Once I had a chance to hear your creative, the way you put music together, I was just blown
Oh,
away.
thank you so
And
much.
it really just it helps to just relax and calm me. I mean, you have so many different styles of music, and aside from that, and then your creative print work and just what you can do on from a web design and logo design, you're just amazing.
Oh,
So I
I want
just
to thank
wanted to
you
tell
so
you
much.
that.
That really means the world to me. And
You're so welcome. So welcome. Well, Robert, let's shift the focus for just a minute, okay? Because I want to shine the spotlight on you. What would you say would be, or when would you say, what or when is your proudest entrepreneurial moment?
proudest moment, wow. Really able to connect with individuals and different businesses that are thinking, wow, like, you actually exist. I mean, we could actually come to a place where there's all these different types of services and all these different types of strategies. Like, how is this even possible? Not only that, just being able to check out different businesses that may not be in alignment with communication, or they may not have a communication style that's speaking to a lot of other people, and hearing words like hearing the words that are pretty much coming out of your mouth, like, wow, you're so talented and you have so much. This is incredible. It's really valuable. So, I mean,
Mhm.
just keeping it simple like that. I mean, obviously, I don't do this for the glory, for the praise. I mean, I'm doing this because I'm making a difference. I'm co-creating a difference
Right.
with the people that I'm working with. So, for what it basically is, when I'm able to, I can't help but laugh because, I mean, success, I mean, it really is within the heart. And as you follow the heart, you really can't go wrong. You really can. It's incredible.
I agree with that, definitely. Well, Robert, we both know that, being an entrepreneur can sometimes be a roller coaster, of emotions. And you can be up today sometimes, and you can be like in the next 24 to 48 hours, you're like ready to quit. You're frustrated. So, can you tell us how do you, keep your focus? And how do you keep that end result in mind each day?
Okay. Okay. Well, like anything else, I mean, it's like us being human beings. We have a backbone. We have a foundation. And what I usually do each day is just really stopping for a moment and checking in. And I would ask myself, okay, well, so Robert, how are you feeling today? And sometimes
That's
I'm feeling
good.
great, and sometimes I'm not feeling so great. Well, it's one of the joys of being human, which I also remind my clients too. And they're just like, oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, we do have this body, so I check in, ask myself how I'm doing, and I would ask myself, okay, well, the projects that I'm working on, anything that I do, is it really in alignment with where I want to go with myself today? Or it even breaks it down. I mean, I even break it down sometimes to this hour, or even the second sometimes, just because I just need that
Hmm.
reminder if I'm having a rough day or something. But yeah, I mean, usually I would check in with myself and see what my activities are lined up. If I'm overbooking myself, I would just be doing maybe just slowing it down just for like a tiny bit, just crafting a little bit of time to breathe, maybe meditate, listen to
Hmm.
some relaxing music or something. But just really checking in ultimately to see where my needs are at that given moment, so I can continue to reground or rebalance, so I know that I'm moving in a more solid direction.
I like the way you kind of said how you check in. I don't think that's something that a lot of us do, during the day because we're constantly moving. And as an entrepreneur, you feel like you got to just be moving at all times. But it is so important to just stop and check in, and ask yourself, how are you doing? That is so key. And I'm so glad you brought that out because I'm definitely going to do that. That's good.
Just maybe like just a millisecond. It's very easy to run around. I mean, our brains can just be yelling at us, don't forget to pick up the laundry, or don't forget to pick up the kids, or oh my gosh, that deadline, or gosh, it's so much, I can't handle it. Well, we can only do so much.
Right.
I mean, we have 24 hours in one day. It's like you have 5 different elephants, and you're pushing them through a narrow doorway. Well, only one elephant can pretty much go through at a time. If you could push all of them through, those elephants are not going to be happy.
True.
Yeah.
It's a great analogy. Great way to look
Just
at it.
keeping it
Great way to
simple, you
look
know. I
at
mean,
it.
ultimately, at the end of the day, we're craving simplicity, and we're just really taking the
Right.
time to understand basically like what do we want, like what do we need, how can we serve ourselves in a way that we know that we're not being selfish and we're really taking care of ourselves. And at the end of the day, whether if I'm meeting up with a design client or I'm working with lifestyle development, it's just, you know, what can I do at this present moment to help? You know, what can we do to help ourselves so we can be a better service to help
Mhm.
other people that we're intending on helping?
Right, right. Because we know nothing is ever nothing can always be in, balance, but we have to try to at least, come into some sort of balance for ourselves through the day because, like you said, there's 10,000 things going on in our personal life as well as business, and you're trying to keep it all together. So, if you don't take time to just check in, like you said, to settle yourself, you can't keep going. You can only do that for so
Yes,
long.
and every
So,
single person has their own definition of balance, and everyone has their own ways of doing things, and hence that's why I wanted everyone to, or the people that I'm hopefully listening, the people that are listening to this, ultimately, is for them to understand that everyone has a rhythm to what's happening in their own lives, and it's okay. It's great to be different. It's great to do things that are diverse, and life rhythms can really help them with that. Whatever project they're doing, whatever
right.
they're experiencing. Yeah.
I love that. I love your name, Life Rhythms. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Makes me want to relax.
That's my intention, partially. I mean, yeah, there's something to be said about that. It's been an evolution of life rhythms as well. I mean, there's so many cool things that are going on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Robert, because I know that you are a success stalker, tell us about any new projects that you may have going on, or what's exciting you right now and about your business. Do you have anything new that you could share with
Oh
us?
my gosh. Well, you know me. There's always tons of different projects that I'm working on. I mean, my whole thing is really connecting community. A lot of people I've seen, especially if I've gone to like networking groups, which I'm not bashing, by the way. Everyone has their own flavor, and that's great. I've just seen some people that they're really afraid to trust businesses. Like I met up with a business owner who has an incredible piece of technology, and he has a lot of people that are claiming that they're competition, and he's feeling. I could tell he was feeling a little bit jaded, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm connecting him with some people right now. Like I need to. I want to connect him with some people that are really able to give him the guidance and assistance because I know he has an incredible product. So my whole thing is bringing other people together. I have a very strong knack with that. I feel like the yenta of connecting businesses and people. All these different ways of connecting them. For instance, I had a 5-person phone call a couple weeks ago, and these are all different business owners. Everybody had they all have resources that can help each other out, and I was a common thread, so I was able to bring these people in, and it was a very powerful phone call. So,
That's awesome.
I mean, again, it's not all about me. I mean, it starts with me, but ultimately it's co-creating that environment. So, I mean, a lot of different things started sprouting from that, and a lot of really cool things continuing to bubble from the conversation as well. So there's that. Uh, I am in the talks of getting my music actually being licensed in the UK for TV and film.
Oh,
It's really
wow.
exciting, and thank you
Congratulations.
so much. No, seriously, I really appreciate you saying that. I mean, you're a huge believer in my music, and that just means a lot. And I'm doing a lot. I'm also working with creating customized affirmations and creating an affirmation app. Just really doing what I can to understand how I can further that. Um, but at the same time, too, I'm also just doing a lot. I mean, I'm working with my lifestyle development clients. I mean, just working with consulting in that capacity, just helping different people with
Mhm.
creative blocks and being able to connect with themselves in different ways they've never connected before, and just be able to receive some great benefits from that. But yeah, there's just a few things that I'm pretty much working on right now, which is
Oh, just a few, huh?
just a few. It
just
feels like there's
just
never
a
one dull
few.
moment. But I
Right.
plan on doing quite a bit more, so stay tuned. Whoa.
Wow, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Well, we will definitely be staying tuned because I know I will be because I love what you're doing over there and I'm excited for you.
Oh, thank
Definitely.
you. Thank you
Yeah, I
so
hope the
much.
UK appreciates you like we do. I'm sure they will.
Uh, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
they
thank you
will.
so much. Yeah.
Well, now we've reached my favorite part of the interview, Robert, because this part of the interview I feel is just it's all important, but it's really important because I believe that, a lot of entrepreneurs, want to ask these questions or they want to know the answers to some of these questions. So that's why we ask. And we call this the success round. So, we're kind of going to go a little faster here, go a little back and forth, kind of do a little boxing match, if you will. So, just don't hit me too hard.
No, I will never ever hit you.
I know you wouldn't. I know. All right. Well, what was it that held you back from becoming an entrepreneur before you got started?
Honestly, it was lack of knowledge. I just didn't know I could actually keep it even simpler than how it was before. And just fear of supporting myself financially as well.
Mm-hmm. So fear. One of the biggest things that most people have, as an entrepreneur getting started is fear.
Definitely.
So how did you overcome it?
How did I overcome it? Well, I took a risk. I mean, ultimately, just taking a look, and I asked myself, well, what do I really, really want? And honestly, I just had to just go for it. I mean, I didn't have to lose any money by starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur.
I love that. I'm so glad you said that. Take a risk. And that's one of the reasons why we ask these questions, because I know that every guest has a different answer, but it's like we all have the same threads. We're all kind of like, well, I just took a chance. I just went for it. So, and that's what, I want our listeners to understand, that you have to just take that chance. Just go for it.
Exactly. Go for it.
Yep. So what is the best business advice, Robert, that you've ever received?
Well, there's an incredible friend of mine who's also a business owner. She's really good at what she does as well. And her name is Missy Bystrom of the Organized Connection. And she would tell me all the time, like, go volunteer. And I met her, I don't want to say I met her volunteering, but I was actually invited by a few people to go to a public speaking boot camp. And that's where I met her. But she would tell me all the time, like, just go volunteer, go put your feet in, and just start meeting different people. And I'm telling you, like, I've met a lot of different people simply by reaching out, and reaching out in a way that's authentic. I mean, only what's natural to me. None of this, hey, buddy, and like looking away and not looking anybody in the eye or anything. So volunteering and just reaching out is just, those two things are just, those two elements, I guess you could say, are incredible. They're so vital.
Yeah, that's definitely great advice she gave you. Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, can you share any of your, say, daily habits with us? Is there one or two habits that you do on a daily basis that helps to, that helps attribute to your success?
Honestly, I believe it's patience. Learning about patience, and those days I'm very, very impatient. And that's when I realized, okay, it's important to be patient. And consistency. For instance, if I don't get adequate rest, or if I'm eating tons of just crap and putting it into my body, basically, at the same time, I'm really trying to be more mindful with that and being more consistent and putting healthier things in my body, even if I'm falling off, at the same time with anything, whether if it's, making phone calls or being able to get a certain number of hours in for doing work. I mean, it's really a matter for myself being very patient and also being consistent with what I'm doing with myself and for myself.
Good. That's exactly what we wanted to know is I wanted something physical that you actually do, and you rest and eating well is so important. I'm learning that.
Me too, big time. I mean, I'm so grateful that my girlfriend has an incredible business who, she really goes to the extent of helping people develop a relationship with their bodies and really being able to identify and just being able to honor ourselves. She's so amazing at what she does.
That's good. Well, do you have an internet resource, Robert, that you can share with our listeners, or a business tool, something that you use maybe on a daily basis to help build your business?
Wow. Honestly, right now, what I'm doing right now is almost traditional, like old school. It's word of mouth marketing. So just talking to different people in that extent. But honestly,
that's good.
Thank you. I've been reaching out to a lot of different people on Facebook. LinkedIn once in a while. But it just seems to me, in order for me to get my message out there, I've been reaching into people in an organic way. So basically, it just seems more for any online tool, it'd probably be more like Facebook or LinkedIn. There's a creative resource called Workbook, where you could meet a lot of different artists and designers and such. But at the same time, my audience is rather vast. I could pretty much go just about anywhere and talk to people about the services that I'm offering.
Okay, so Workbook, is that an app or something, or?
I think it is, but I think it's definitely like an online resource as well in terms of like a directory.
Okay. So we want to make sure we have that in our show notes for our listeners in case they want to look that up. So
yeah,
okay,
I mean,
good deal.
It would be like a really good showcase for larger projects like catalogs or like photography, or you can have like space rentals as well too. But I mean, it's been a while since I've actually been on there, but it's definitely a great resource to connect with.
Okay, and it's called Workbook? Workbook. Okay, good. All right. Well, what books would you recommend, or a book would you recommend to our listeners, Robert?
Well, there's two for sure. There's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and Power versus Force by Dr. David Hawkins.
Let's say it again. Power
versus Force.
Okay. And that's by, again?
Dr. David Hawkins. Hawkins.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Well, my last question, Robert, is I want you just to relax for a second, and I want you to imagine you woke up tomorrow morning in a brand new world, identical to Earth, but you knew no one. You still have all of the same experience and knowledge that you currently have today. Your food is taken care of, your shelter is taken care of, but all you have is a laptop and $500. So what would you do in the next 7 days?
Next 7 days, first thing I would do is establish an internet connection, and then take the time to get to know my community that's in close proximity, and then find a way to interact with them and get involved with whatever they're doing, so I can understand what their interests are, what their needs are. But with the internet connectivity, I mean, obviously I'm rebuilding my network, my family of reliable people, and being able to address a business need in the community. Obviously reaching out physically, it would be a great way for me to get involved in a way that's organic and authentic. Once I'm establishing an internet connection, for sure, I'll be able to not only understand what my local needs are, but what the global needs are, and seeing how much things may cost for resources, how much the rates are, if the rates have changed from, being in this different world versus where they are now. I mean, because they need to be parallel. But ultimately, I still know the power of connectivity, and that's something I know best. So, I figured starting grassroots is always a great way to go.
Yes, absolutely. This last question we just asked it's so powerful, because we ask that because, most people want to know how to get started or what should they do. And of course, you're successful already in your business, and, God forbid you would ever have to start it over again. But if that were the case, we always ask, like, what would you do? Because that gives, that really pulls that out, for our listeners to see exactly how to do it. Get out there, meet people, build relationships, and that's just awesome. So I love how you answered that.
And I agree with you fully. I'm so glad that you actually asked that question for entrepreneurs to ask, and to actually respond well to it, because, I mean, they will respond well. It's great. It helps inspire the business owners as well.
Good deal. Good. Well, Robert, I just appreciate you so much for taking time today to share with us. And, before we go, I would love for you to just give our listeners one piece of guidance, parting advice, and then share the best way they can find you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, anyone's business idea. And first of all, you're not just anyone. Whoever's listening right now, your business idea in terms of what you have is amazing, and it starts with an idea that you know what works. I mean, you definitely know what works, and that's the reason why you started your business. So ultimately, I mean, your heart got you to that place. So it's so important to listen to it. Listen to its messages, and if you're concerned about funding or concerned about meeting the right connections, I mean, that's where you go. You go to your heart. You're fully listening to it. And it doesn't matter if one person or 1,000 people believe in you. I mean, you're brave and you're taking the time to build something. You've built your business, whether it's new or if it's been established for 25 years. I mean, you've taken a risk. So it's something to be proud of, and it's so important to listen to your heart.
That's so true, so true. And so what's the best way that, we can find you, Robert?
The best way right now is through my own website, which is www.liferhythms.us. which is lifeRhythms.us.
Okay, perfect. What about social media?
Social media, I believe, it's been a while, to be quite honestly, with my business page, but I believe it's...
Because you're on Facebook.
I am, yeah. It's www.facebook.com/yourliferhythm.
Thank you so much, Robert. Well, I know that our listeners have gotten some great takeaways and nuggets from you, Robert. I know I certainly have. And they can also find the links to everything that we've been chatting about today at successstalkersradio.com/Robert Alexander. So it will all be there in the show notes, okay?
Absolutely. And thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to connect with me, too. I mean, it means the world to me.
Oh, thank you so much for putting up with my voice. I've been, getting over this bronchial, situation here. So, I've been telling all my listeners that, you got to listen to my sexy, raspy voice for a few more days until this is gone. So I appreciate you putting up with this.
Yeah, I wasn't putting up with anything. It's such a pleasure, whether if your voice is there or not there. Because I'm sure there's a lot of male listeners out there, and even if you're female listeners, I might be like, wow,
Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Well, again, we just thank you, Robert, and thank you for being so transparent today, with your journey. And for all of our listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in. And until our next episode, keep stalking success. Well, that'll do it for another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. If you'd like to hear more from these inspiring entrepreneurs and entertainers, be sure to subscribe to the Success Stalkers Radio podcast on iTunes. And if you found value in this episode, give us a review, hopefully 5 stars. You may also visit us at successstalkers.com. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.